Welcome to this LN training session. My name is Doug Stroud and I'll be your logistics trainer for today. In an earlier training session, we created, approved, and printed a sales order for the item battery. And overnight, enterprise planning ran. So let's take a look at one of my favorite LN sessions, the item order plan. As you can see, when the item order plan opened, it opened into item Minicom. That's because normally when it opens, it would have opened in the find mode, which is here. It would have opened with this session, and you had to re-enter all the information. But since I only want to change the part number, I saved my defaults here so that all I have to do now is come in and put in my item. And you'll notice that I typed the item in lowercase, but when I hit tab, the system converts it to uppercase. This is because the item itself is defined in the system as a all caps field. Therefore, the system automatically will convert it for you. So now let's click OK. As you can see, there's one planned purchase order, which order plan enterprise planning generated last night, and then my original sales order. As you can also see, there's a lot of key information shown on the screen. So let's talk about a couple of them. Order horizon. For those of you who understand MRP, the order horizon is the MRP planning horizon. How far out into the future MRP will go to look for data. In this case, you notice that the planning horizon is also the same as the order horizon. That's because for this item, I don't have on master production planning or MPS. Therefore, it's only using the order horizon for planning purposes. The other key field here is the ATP horizon. ATP is the available to promise horizon for sales orders. And what this is actually would do is if I entered another sales order today for this item, since there's no inventory and the planned information's there, if I ordered more than 5, there'd be a shortage, and it would tell me that that item would not be available until my end of my ATP horizon. Okay, another one just to show you is over here under the general. It shows you who the planner for this item is, what the standard cost is, and what the actual supply for that item is. It knows it's the actual supplying source for this item is purchased, so therefore it's a purchased item. That's why I have a planned purchase order. If this was a manufactured item, the supply source would be manufacturing, and it would have created me a planned manufacturing order. Okay. Some other things, I use the, you'll note that there's some key icons that I added here using the personalization for the toolbar, which over here, there's a thing for personalizing the toolbar. So some of the icons that I've added is the pegging downstream. You'll note with the pegging downstream, it shows you my planned purchase order. Oh, look, there's an excess of 5, which I will explain in a few minutes, in my actual sales order. And then if I click on one of these records, at the bottom, it actually shows me the order detail of when that item, planned order needs to be available, etc. Okay? Now, one of the other nice functions here, if you had a huge set of information here, remember I've only got the one, but let's say you had lots of planned orders and lots of demand, you could actually click the print button and hit the print, and what it'll do is it'll bring up the printing. And you can tell it if you only want to do selected branches. I like to have it open all the branches, and then I can look at my exception message and my demand peg. I click the print button, put in my device, click continue, and it now shows me the report. And since this is in Adobe, I can actually open it up and look at it and show you the information. So I got a planned purchase order. Here's my planned order number for the battery for 15. I'm going to have an excess of 5, and like I said, I'll explain that in a moment. And then I have my actual sales order. So this allows you to print it out if you had a lot of information so that someone could manually sit and review it. So let's close our pegging relation and close our print pegging. I'm going to close the pegging downstream, and now I'm going to go to pegging upstream, which is sort of the reverse of the downstream. You'll notice now the driver is my sales order, which going downstream, going upstream would then link to the planned purchase order. And again, if I click it, I can see the information at the bottom. And again, there's a print function. So if there was a lot of information here that this sales order was driving a lot of information, you'd actually see all of that down in the pegging, and you could print out a report for someone. So let's close that. Okay, now we're back here. I told you I wanted to explain to you why I have a supply for 15 and I only have a demand for 10. When I set this item up, it was set up in such a way that there was a minimum order quantity on the item ordering data of 15. Therefore, the system automatically planned to buy the minimum order quantity of 15. Okay, therefore I have an excess of 5 for the next order that came in. So let's open that planned order. When I open the planned order, is again, here's my planned order quantity, which I could change, the warehouse it's going to be delivered to, and the dates, which again I could change based on conversations with my supplier. And if I go to the purchasing data, it actually tells me who the supplier is and what the item purchase price would be for buying that item from that supplier. And if I had a default carrier, who the carrier is. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to pull down action and note I could do a confirm like we've always done before. If I were actually processing via the order planning or the planned orders, I could actually confirm the orders and then transfer them all at one time. But in this case, since I only want to transfer this one order, I don't have to confirm it first. I can actually just click the transfer. You'll notice that the information defaulted in. Part of that's because I have, the fact that you have to have a purchasing user profile to do a transfer of a planned PO to purchasing. So, and also I've saved my defaults because on the options tab, I always want to get the process report and the error report. And the key one is the error report. And the reason this is important is if you don't check this, if there's any errors and the record doesn't transfer, you won't know why, and you'll be sitting there trying to figure it out. So always make sure you go and check these two reports and save your defaults. Again, by going to the thing and doing save defaults. Now do the transfer. And again, it shows me my report, and if I hit the plus sign, it will tell me that it created a purchase order, and this is the purchase order that was created. Let's close that. Now I go back, and I'm going to update my screen, and you'll notice that now I have a purchase order advice. And a purchase order advice means it's a real purchase order, but with a status of free. So that way you know that there's an actual PO now versus a planned order. If once this PO is been approved, then the status would change. Okay, this ends the training session for today. So let's close our item order plan, and you'll notice that I can't use the normal save and exit or any of those because of the way this screen is formatted. So I have to hit the X here at item order plan. So I hit my X and it closes it. I want to thank you for listening to the training session today, and I hope to hear from you soon. Bye-bye.